Hello, everyone. Welcome to Myriacast, episode 15. This has a variety of different topics attached to it. We typically only talk about one thing at a time, but today's kind of like a special occasion where we're going to be talking about multiple different things. The PS5 Reveal event that occurred last week. We have our guest Zem here, so we'll be talking a bit about him and some of the stuff he's been up to, and various different things that he's recommended. We talk about like Smash and a bit about his sort of experience with streaming so far. So I just wanted to talk a bit before we get started about the Myriathon. Last week we had a marathon that encompassed the entire week. So it started on the 8th, so on Monday, and it ended yesterday, actually. We raised over $3,200 for direct relief, which is great. I think all of us in the group are really happy about that. And we certainly are grateful for all those people who did donate or just watch during that week marathon. So just wanted to talk a bit about that as an introduction. And we'll be hopefully getting more content and things such as the Myriacast, this podcast, out for you guys to continue to follow us. If you're interested, you can see the socials on the overlay here. The Myriathon on Twitter, on YouTube as well. You can search that, and then on Twitch if you wanted to follow. Okay, I think that's the intro for this. I wanted to keep it short and sweet so we could get right into all of our topics.
Oh no.
And yeah, what's up, Spoon?
I gotta yell at production. Our guest today is Zem, not missed.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Production is really bad. Usually I get just about everything right, and then there's just like one thing I get wrong. And it's always like this kind of thing. So I apologize. Not missed, it is Zem. So production's been sloppy so far today. Okay. Now that everything else I hope is fixed, let's just jump right in. Zem, again, thanks for coming on to this. We really appreciate it. We thought, much like we talked about when we were sort of figuring out our topics and discussion, let's start with just getting to know you a little bit more. Maybe you can sort of share some of your background, and we'll sort of go from there.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks for having me. I appreciate that. But yeah, if you want to, those of you who don't know me, I'm Zem. I'm primarily known for being a Ratchet and Clank speedrunner. I would say I'm also known on the Twitch and like in the speedrunning community. I'm kind of known for that. I'm also kind of known for being a guy who sings a lot during GDQs. I think a lot of people know me for that as well. I have a background in operatic performance. That is what I got my degree in. I got 2 degrees in it now. I got my bachelor's and I just graduated with my master's this past month. So that was pretty cool. I was really happy to be done with that. I don't know why I picked up this water if I'm not going to drink from it. And yeah, I've been okay. Brief idea of what my past few years have looked like to kind of give you the scope. Graduated from undergrad in 2014. Then I worked some odd jobs, including like food service. I worked at a record store a little bit, worked in insurance. And all the while I was growing my channel because I wasn't good enough at opera to be doing the big boy opera stuff yet, and didn't really have any other direction in my life. So I started streaming speedruns. Kind of got into that I want to say like around 2008. That's when I got into speedrunning, but never actually had the time for it until I graduated college. So then I did that, and then eventually, with a lot of hard work and a lot of good luck, was able to get partner at the end of 2016, and then I moved to full-time streaming from 2017 to 2018. Stopped doing that to go to grad school. Continued part-time streaming and being a full-time student on top of that, and then ended up, well, obviously with the coronavirus happening, I was able to kind of what's the term? Springboard back into full time as the school year was coming to a close. And then once I officially graduated at the end of, or in the middle of May, I have now been officially a full-time streamer once again for about a month now. It's been kind of sick, not gonna lie. With all the stuff that is not happening in the world, it's nice to be able to just kind of focus on one thing. As you could probably imagine, the world of opera is completely boned at this present time.
Yeah,
it is not good.
yeah, I imagine.
Any performing art, I think, is in that
A lot of
boat.
entertainment, yeah, and general
Yeah.
entertainment as well.
But especially with opera, I will say, not to make this sound like it's suffering anymore, but I think that by and large, opera is just one gigantic house of cards. Where, and I mean, I know this is true for a lot of companies, but a lot of opera companies are like barely making it into the green or the black. I don't know what you would call making net profit, but this is not good. This whole thing is really not good for the state of opera in America, which is already not good.
Which is already barely function. Okay.
Yeah. So, we'll see where this goes. I'm kind of hoping that if nothing else, this will be a catalyst for some nice changes in the world of opera. And if that doesn't pan out, we can always just keep on streaming on Twitch or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the brief overview of everything that's happening.
Well, congrats on graduating both for undergrad and also for masters. I personally haven't done like any master's degree or anything like that, but an undergrad, depending on your situation, could be so difficult for some.
Yeah.
For others, it's just like a coast. I don't know. It depends on the person. But for me, I don't like. Could you just talk a little bit about you for undergrad? Again, what was the major exactly? It was.
So the actual name of the major is Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Vocal Performance.
Okay, got it.
So,
and then for masters, you focus more on the opera side. Again,
technically, well, okay. So here's how it kind of works. So my degree for graduate school is called a Master's of Music in Vocal Performance and Literature. And I mean it's all weird fancy names for the same thing.
Buzzword.
Yeah. Essentially, if you are going to school for vocal performance, you are going to school for opera. That is the idea. I mean, at the very least, classical singing.
Okay.
Do I know a large amount of people who go into vocal performance and end up wanting to do things like music theater? Yeah, I do. There's a ton of people who want to do that. There's often it's usually either people who don't really feel too strongly one way or the other, whether they do music theater or they do opera, or it's people who I've seen this example too. People who wanted to do music theater but did not get into the music theater program, so they did the next closest thing. Aside from that, you have those two types, then you also have the types that are like myself, who are just strictly interested in opera singing.
Okay.
If I were paid to do a musical, I would not mind. However, I would have to be paid quite a bit to make it feel like it were worth my time.
Okay. Got it. No, that's great. So for this, so you just, like I said, like you had said, you just sort of got out of the master, you just graduated from that, and now you've jumped back into streaming. So for you, you said you're predominantly Ratchet and Clank speedrunner.
Yeah.
Is that something like, are there any other things that you've dove into besides Ratchet and Clank and felt like you latched onto it for a long period of time? Or is it just like, okay, maybe I'll play something for like a week and then move back to what you were doing before?
Yeah, I usually... So my stream is actually really familiar with this. But like at one point every year, I never plan it. It just ends up always being sometime between like April and June every year. I get really burnt out on running Ratchet, and then I end up running something else for like a month, and then never touching it again. So I think this started in 2016 because I started speedrunning like I say seriously, but more like consistently. October 2014. And so the first time around, I didn't really have much burnout because I was still trying to grind Ratchet 3 and get to a really high level at that.
Yeah.
And then, so I grinded from all the way until April 2016 is when I finally experienced my first bit of burnout.
Mm.
I had finally gotten record in all 4 major categories, and so I was like, okay, I'm good for a little bit. And so I ended up running Kingdom Hearts 2 English any percent beginner. I always have to remember every word of it. I ran that for about a month. I got
You were in the tournament that I helped run. I don't know if you played any matches. I don't remember that.
I did. I played like 1 or 2 matches. I remember I played Wyatt at one point, and
Wyatt's pretty good.
Yeah, I was really sad about that. I had to play him in winners, and then he was like, "Yeah, I literally haven't even touched this game." I was like, "Sick, I have a chance." And then he beat me by 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it happens.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like I had a lot of fun playing the game. I felt like I had way more fun practicing the game than I did actually doing runs of it, and so that's why I stopped.
Interesting. I have for those who don't know who I am, I run Kingdom Hearts, mostly Kingdom Hearts 2, but I've dabbled in 1 and 3 as well. And I hate doing practice. I find it so boring. I just want to do runs all the time. And then I do a run and I make a terrible mistake and I baby rage and I quit. So,
Yeah.
Can't confirm that's usually what happens.
I think honestly my perspective of that came from wanting like the technical input, like because KH2 is like it's kind of like a nice mix between like technical, like how fast can you input certain shit at I'm sorry, that's my bad. That'll be my one.
That's your one. It's fine.
How fast you can input buttons on certain fights, but it's also a lot of game knowledge and knowing what you have to do in certain situations if you mess up, how to mitigate time loss. And coming from a game like Ratchet and Clank where you have to it's basically just a button check of how fast you can hit things. I really, really loved the technical part. I like the fights. Like to this day, I still tell people that Grim Reaper 2 is the best fight in that game. And everybody's like, "What are you talking about? That fight sucks."
Dan's game, dude.
Yeah,
that fight does suck.
I love that one. I love Zigbar. Like those are
Zigbar's great. Zigbar's great. Yeah.
I could sit down and practice those 2 fights for hours, and I'd have so much fun. But then like I'd have to just essentially suffer through the 3 hours of the run it took to get to to those fights.
Yeah.
And then I would still mess them up.
You never touched Final Mix, did you? You just ran English, right?
No, only English.
Yeah, personally, I dabbled a little bit in 2 English when that tournament was going on, but I don't like 2 English that much. I really like 2FM. So I think 2FM is even 2 English. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's spammy because it's not. There's a lot of different strats, but limits are really powerful in 2 English, and you end up using a lot of limits.
Yeah, and then it's like, what is it, like knockback is also
smash.
Smash. Yeah, that's what
Goofy,
it's called.
Goofy's limit. Yeah.
Yeah, that ends up being really over centralizing and
yeah, Donald's comet is really strong early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Like Goofy's limits aren't used in 2FM at all because they're not good anymore in 2FM. They maybe nerfed them too hard, but it's just interesting. I don't know. I love Kingdom Hearts 2 as a speedrun. I think it's great. I think, as you said, it's really technical game knowledge and like knowing the fight strats. And being able to execute them correctly. I fell in love with the Kingdom Hearts 2 speedrun, or 2FM at least, when I saw the 2015 run, I think, that they did at AGDQ, and I saw the Roxas strat, and they just loop that guy, and you're just like, man, that is awesome.
That is really, really cool. I remember, that's actually why I got into it as well, was Zetras's Proud run at HDQ 2016 for KH1.
That was
and
KH1,
like, yeah, just seeing like everybody pop off so hard when he got like all the crazy, like when he got Ansem 2DM skip, and everybody in the entire room just freaked out. I was like, wow, that community is kind of cool. And then I ended up putting my foot in my mouth and making a lot of people not like me for a little bit. But I'd like to think that I rectified that at this point.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't even remember that. I'm going to be honest. So yeah, why don't you talk about real quick? I mean, I know you didn't run KH2 for very long, but I know like the Ratchet categories aren't particularly long. I don't think, especially as compared to KH2 is like just like 4 hours, and then
Yeah.
well, 2FM on PS4 is 3 hours. So
Yeah.
what's the sort of difference there? I suppose, or is there one? Like,
Well, to kind of close off what I was saying before about how I've
sure.
done different things, just to give a brief rundown.
Mm-hmm.
So 2016 was KH2, 2017 was Sunshine for about a month.
Okay.
I tried to get like sub 120 in a month, and I ended up getting kind of. I mean, my sum of bests were in the ballpark, but then the game just hurt my hands too badly. That game is really, really like the GameCube is just not ergonomic. The controller, rather.
No.
And then 20. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. I don't care what people say. That controller sucks.
Yeah, it's good for Melee, or it's good for Smash games, I think. But I mean, I could take it or leave it with everything else.
Yeah.
And then 2018, I did Baldi's Basics in Education and Learning.
Okay. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, you don't know what Baldi's is? I don't even want to explain it because I think it's just better seen than explained.
Okay.
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 Fair enough. You can link us a video later.
Afterwards, we'll have to check it out. That name alone might be just worth it. That name alone might be worth it.
I'm shocked you guys haven't heard of it. And actually, this is kind of relevant. The newest version of Baldi's literally just came out this week. So like all the gigantic streamers have been playing it, like XQC, Moon, like everybody's been playing Baldi's this week.
Okay, we're definitely behind Spoon.
Okay,
this is bad.
I guess this is past our time. I'm not
have no idea.
sure.
I don't know.
I can't tell you anything about it other than that it is nothing like you expect it to be. And then 2019, I ran Frog Fractions. Which is like a popular Flash game from 2011, 2012, something like that. Okay, so yeah, on to your next question, which was the difference in the runs. The Ratchet games, so the categories that I tend to tackle, not average, but they run anywhere from, 8 minutes to an hour and a half.
Okay.
There are 100% categories, and I have run several of them. I've even done. The longest category I've ever done was 100% trifecta, which was Ratchets 1, 2, and 3 100% back to back to back.
Oof.
I remember my first run of it was just under 27 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
100% take that long in that game?
Not anymore, and also I was really inexperienced at the time.
Okay,
like
fair.
I very quickly took the record down from 26 to like 19 to like 15, and now the world record is just below 13 hours. A really good run in that category would be, let me think, under 3 hours for Rack 1, under 4 hours for Rack 2, and then under 5 hours for Rack 3. So about under 12 hours would be like a good run.
Okay. Did you do that 7 hours straight? I hope you didn't. Oh my goodness.
It was really awful. But honestly, you know what's really sick? The world record at the time was 37 hours, and that guy did that all in one sitting too.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine doing that.
Our RTA speedruns, kids.
Oof.
Yeah. Our only like, I don't even know what you call it. We added to the rules that we allowed people up to a 1 hour break between categories. That's kind of the only thing that you're allowed. So you can go to the bathroom, take a dump if you have to. You can go eat some food,
get something to eat, yeah.
Stretch your legs, see the sun at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are obviously equal parts speedrun and challenge run, but no, primarily the categories that I tend to tackle and the categories that tend to be the most competitive in the Ratchet series are between the 20 and 30 minute mark. So I would say, I don't think it's any stretch to say that the most popular categories are, in no particular order, Ratchets 1, 2, and 3 New Game Plus.
Okay.
And we tend to gravitate towards New Game Plus categories because oftentimes the any percent categories have their own strategies, but the NG Plus ones are all about movement. And so it's it's just very movement intensive and very difficult and very movement focused.
Apologies for my ignorance, but I played the Ratchet games a little bit when I was a kid. I don't think I ever beat any of them. So what do you carry over in New Game Plus that that makes that the, I guess, preferred category for that?
So you carry all weapons and some gadgets.
Okay.
As well as nanotech, as well as, which is your health.
Okay.
As well as bolts, which is your money.
Okay.
And the bolts don't matter. Well, the bolts do matter a lot in Ratchet 1 and a little bit in Ratchet 2, because from Ratchet 1, and I hate to make this sound so technical or nerdy or whatever, but the economy of bolts in Ratchet 1 is like very, I don't even know what the term is. It's like it's just a very like encapsulated, like bolts don't carry a lot of value.
Okay.
And so in order, like for example, in order to collect the coordinates to go to the next planet, you have to spend 2,000 bolts on this info bot, and then that gives you the coordinates. However, getting 2,000 bolts is actually really hard in Rack 1. Like it's hard to do that fast.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so you just have to like grind, which is not very fun for a speed run.
So part of it is just removing the grind. Okay, I mean I can get that.
And what's kind of cool is that we have actually found some really sick strats over the years to reduce or altogether remove the grind. Like, for example, somebody actually sat down and labbed out this crazy strat where, like, you would complete the level normally, and then you would reload the level. You had to kill a certain enemy in the first play, and then as you reload the level, you kill any random enemy, and then don't collect any bolts for the rest of the level. And then once you break your first set of boxes, which have the bolts in them, you get like 10 times the normal amount of bolts.
I don't know. These glitches that people find, I don't know how people find them. That's just like so insanely specific. Like, jeez.
And it's called, at first the concept is called jackpot, because that concept does exist like outside of that specific setup. Like, for example, if I loaded a different file, broke some boxes, left those bolts there, and then started a new game, then the first set of bolts I would break would have that same effect. We banned it because that carries between playthroughs, and you can't do that in any percent, right? This is the first self-contained instance of jackpot, which was found by Janky Lad, or Yankee. I think he's Swedish. I know he's Scandinavian, so it's Yankee Lad.
Okay.
So we call it Yankpot instead of Jackpot.
So you go through the level, you break the boxes, but then you beat it normally, but you break things, and then when you reload it, you don't collect anything. Go back to, or you have to defeat like an enemy, and then for
so you defeat the enemy. Yeah, you defeat the enemy in the first play.
Okay.
Beat the level as normal.
Yep.
Don't worry about anything else.
Yep.
Reload.
Okay.
Kill one enemy. Do not pick up his bolts. Don't break any other crates. And then you go to this one specific area on the map that has roughly 20 crates, I want to say, and then you just break all of them, and it gives you all the bolts you need for the first, like, half of the game.
Okay. That is I'm just trying to think of how the heck the code works for that.
Yeah, we have no idea. He basically just calls it bolt magic. That's all he calls. That's like how he did.
Yeah, it's so weird. Sorry, I'm like kind of like a little bit of a developer, and this is just like, it's fascinating to think about the code of like, okay, how the heck is how is behind the curtain working there? It's like just trying to like storing certain values to get. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, that's fine. Was I discussing? Oh, NG Plus stuff. So in Ratchet 1, the biggest stuff that carries between playthroughs are the bolts, so that you don't have to grind any more bolts. The Walloper. There's like a lot of stuff. It's kind of hard to explain why specific things are important, because you kind of have to explain like all the other like little ins and outs of why. But basically, there's a weapon that you can get that you can store. It's the only momentum. Well, it's only one of two ways to basically. Okay, sorry. Let me take a quick little step back.
No, take your time here.
The important stuff is the stuff that helps you carry momentum.
Okay.
And there are two devices that do that. One of them is the PDA, which the intended function of the PDA is that you open it up when you're in the middle of combat and you can buy ammo for different guns at an upcharge.
Okay.
So it's just like normally you buy ammo at ammo vendors.
Right.
But this is just like a portable ammo vendor.
So but if you run out of ammo during combat, you're like, all right,
it's a portable shop.
I guess I'll
but
do
it. But it's like plus 10%. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I think all the ammo, if I recall correctly, it's like upcharged 10 times. So at least I know it's that way for Up Your Arsenal. I forget what it's like for Ratchet 1.
Okay.
But it's like really expensive. So that's kind of the drawback of it.
Yeah.
And the other device that stores momentum is called the Walloper. It's a boxing glove. It's like a rocket powered boxing glove.
Okay.
The intended function of the weapon is you punch it and it just like shoots you forward and like punches whatever's in front of you like directly in the face.
Sure.
But what happens is in New Game Plus, there's also something called the goodies menu that you don't normally get in a first playthrough. And in the goodies menu, you can watch in-level movies. So cutscenes that would happen within the level. For whatever reason, I don't really know why they put that in there, but I guess just for like fan service.
Sure.
It turns out if you pause the game on like there's a specific time window after you punch the Walloper, basically right as you gain forward velocity. You pause the game, you open up the goodies menu, you open an in-level movie, and then it stores your momentum. And then as you unpause the game, you can side flip or like long jump and gain like a crap ton of speed. So those two together, both the PDA and the Walloper, you can use them to just clear entire levels in matters of seconds. So for Ratchets 2 and 3, the weapons are a little bit like the weapons are important in all three of them, but the weapons I think are a little less important in 2 and 3 in comparison to the major player, which is the charge boots.
Okay.
Now the charge boots were a gadget that they added in Ratchet 2. They do not exist in Ratchet 1, but they eliminate the need to build momentum with the Walloper and the PDA.
Okay.
What happens is you double tap R1 on the controller, and then Ratchet charges forward at and if I remember correctly, 0.43 meters per second.
Okay.
That is his max velocity in the game. So it automatically shoots you forward at max velocity. And so what you can do is you can use these charge boots to chain together movement, like side flips and long jumps, and like tuck yourself into like little out of bounds spots and like jettison yourself upwards. It's really, really cool. But the charge boots are the important thing for NG.
Oh boy, we lost him.
I guess Zem had an internet hiccup.
Internet hiccup. Oh boy, and
Dan boy.
Oh boy.
Discord feels bad.
Oh boy. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
The return.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening, and I know it's not my internet. I don't know what it is. Ever since the coronavirus started, like Discord just randomly boots me from calls sometimes.
All right. Well, it's okay. We're back. No problem.
We're good now.
And we're back.
We're back.
But yeah, to kind of put a bow on it, not to talk your guys' ear off for like forever about this, but essentially, yeah, the NG Plus is really, really important because without them, the games would not look nearly as cool or be as optimized as you know. The interest just would not have been there with only any % categories.
Okay, got it.
We had a quick question in chat from Abandon. He wants to know what your favorite non-original trilogy Ratchet game is.
To play, I would say Ratchet Deadlocked. But for the actual, like as an actual game, like the plot included, I would say A Crack in Time. Deadlocked is just it's not a good game. It doesn't really do a whole lot for the series, but it is really fun to play, and it does have local co-op which is really it's the only Ratchet game aside from All for One, which I don't want to talk about because it's terrible. Deadlocked is the only good Ratchet game that has multiplayer. Or like local multiplayer. Local co-op. Multiplayer exists in Ratchet 3 as well, but it doesn't matter. I'm getting way too specific at this point. But yeah.
Okay.
You get that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, cool. Yeah, cool.
No, very cool. Let's segue a bit. So
Sure.
Let's talk about the PS5 event. Ratchet and Clank was also revealed in that.
Yeah, it was.
I had like a huge list of all the games just for our side of it. I don't know if everybody, has gone through all these games. I had sort of like the misfortune. I always think of this, and this is like a weird sort of, I think it's just my opinion thing. I don't know why I watch these, even the VODs of them when they're live streamed on YouTube, because I just like the YouTube chat always triggers me. Every time it triggers me, I get so upset.
You can hide the chat.
I know, but right? The thing is, I don't want to. I don't know why. I just like I hate looking at it. I'm just like, you guys. Every time like an artistic indie type of game came on, everybody was pissed. Was just like upset in the chat. And then like something came on that was more mainstream, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, it's great." But there's some like cool, more artistic. They look more like indie games to me. But we can go through like all of them, obviously, that look just like cool visually, and it annoys me looking at YouTube chat, and it's a mistake, but it's just so annoying because I'm like, okay, well this game looks beautiful, it looks pretty. So let's go through just like I can talk about like there's like
we have a quick question
go ahead.
From chat from Danuz. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Have you seen Zem's reaction to the reveal? No, I have not. Though I did stop by his stream for a little bit afterwards when he was doing his analysis, and that was pretty cool to see. So yeah, I have not seen his initial reaction to the reveal, though. I'm sure he popped off a good one, though.
I popped off, dude. I thought I was gonna break my chair.
Did you pop off as hard as when you solved the super hard puzzle in Chapter 3 in Danganronpa 2? Because I saw that.
I would say it was honestly probably okay. They were different kinds of pop-offs, but I would say they were equal in power.
Okay, gotcha. Fair enough. All right, so I know what I'm dealing with in terms of the scale of this pop-off.
Well, Zem, why don't you tell us about the ones that you were... I mean, I just want to say Ratchet and Clank is probably one of them, but maybe some of the other ones? Do you want to talk about that you were kind of generally interested in the most?
Sure, yeah, I can talk about that.
Then...
Some of these, it's kind of hard to remember all of them, especially because a lot of them were very, like, visual-based games, and when you see like 5 visual-based games in a row, they start to blur together and you can't really remember them super well. But I will try my best here. So first off, I mean, obviously the Insomniac reps, Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank. I'm very excited. I still haven't played the original PS4 Spider-Man, but I'm very excited for the sequel.
I haven't either. I've heard really good things, but I haven't gotten around to it.
It's like, in the sea of casual games to play, there's only so much time in the world. But yeah, and those, I actually do have a funny story about that, and I'm pretty sure I'm legally allowed to talk about this now, but I went to Insomniac back in April of last year. I remember I raided them because they were having a live stream and I was just ending my stream, so I raided Insomniac Games, and a bunch of speedrunners were just in Insomniac's chat and talking about speedrunning stuff. And then I forget the name of the man who runs the stream, and I'm sure if he ever talks to me again, and finds out, he'll kill me. But because we talked like a lot. But yeah, he basically left like an open invitation to all speedrunners who wanted to come out to Burbank, California, and speedrun on the channel. And so I took them up on that. I was like, oh my god, I would love that. And so I set it up for right after Calithon, because I was already flying out to California anyway. So it went from Santa Barbara for Calithon to Burbank to do the Insomniac thing. And while I was there, they made me sign an NDA to, for all intents and purposes.
Obviously.
And they gave me a grand tour of the place, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw both a Ratchet level I did not recognize and a Spider-Man game that did not look like Peter Parker. And so I've just been kind of sitting on this information for like over a year now.
Mhm.
And I wasn't 100%, you know, like you're never 100% when you see this kind of stuff. Maybe they're
Sure.
just playtesting various things. Maybe it's a skin. Maybe I just didn't realize what level they were on. And like maybe they were on a level that I actually knew about. But I have at least had suspicions of new Spider-Man and new Ratchet for over a year now. And so like now the fact that I can finally talk about this now that they've revealed them on their own terms and everybody knows, it's actually really, really sick.
When's the last time they made a new Ratchet game?
2016, April of 2016
Okay.
was the last time it was released.
It's been a hot minute.
It really has.
It's been a couple of years. Yeah.
And personally, this one means a lot to me because while I got like partnered in 2016, I got partnered at like end of 2016. So I have never in my like serious stream career have never had a new release of a game that's like relevant to my channel. And so this is like the world of possibilities, like the world of new Ratchet fans who are going to come in to the community, like a horde of new speedrunners. Like I'm trying to like think about all the content I even want to put out in the meantime to kind of like prep people if they want to join the community, but I don't even know where to start. Like thankfully I have time for it, but anyway, I'm sorry, wait, what was the topic at hand?
The PS5 reveal.
PS5 reveal. My teachers in high school always told me that in all my writing essays I had a really hard time maintaining focus, and I'm sure that's not going to change here. Okay, so the ones that interested me the most personally.
Sure.
Gameplay wise, Returnal and Deathloop. Those ones look so cool. I love like I'm a very existential, like heady kind of dude when I like take in content. And one of my favorite concepts is like the hellish nightmare of having to die over and over and relive like this same thing that killed you a million times. Like I think that makes for some of like the highest stakes drama in like TV or movies or things like that. And so both of those games kind of are centered around that concept of just like, all right, waking up to this new reality. Like Deathloop is literally like you are trying to hunt down like 8 different people to gain your freedom. Like basically, I think the concept of Deathloop was like you're on an island and the island is one like eternal party, and the party is that they all want to kill you. Like the party is killing you over and over, and like you revive every time you die. And there's like a you have to go around and try to kill the 8 main people who are trying to kill you. And meanwhile, there's like a counter assassin who's like hunting you down the whole time to make sure that you don't kill them. It's like
that was the shooter, the FPS, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure I'm remembering correctly.
And then Returnal, I wasn't really sure, but it seemed like it was a similar kind of concept, like a woman trapped in like this hellish scenario where she keeps dying and has to like, I don't know. I don't know. I think the concepts are there, and I kind of hope the gameplay follows up.
Okay.
Aside from that, other ones that kind of interested me, Oddworld for sure. Ghostwire Tokyo looks really sick. Solar Ash looked really cool. Little Devil Inside, I was a big fan of that. Bug Snacks, I'm actually hyped for Bug Snacks. That game looks so funny. Resident Evil, Demon Souls. I mean, so many of these games look so good.
Yeah.
Like I plan on getting at least, like even if they're not good, I'm probably gonna get like at least half a dozen of these.
Okay.
What about you guys? Anything that you've seen in what you have experienced so far that sticks out?
Spoon?
So I'm just gonna say in general, I've seen mixed opinions. I mean, actually, I've seen mostly positive opinions on the PS5 reveal, and I'm kind of on the other side of the fence. I wasn't super impressed personally.
Really?
But me, I love RPGs, and they didn't show like a single RPG in this thing. Like Demon Souls, okay, that's an RPG, but I'm not really a Souls-like fan, so I don't care.
Okay.
Horizon Zero Dawn, I haven't played it. Again, I've heard great things, and
Yeah.
I think that classifies as an RPG. It looks cool. Um, they did have a Square Enix game. I don't even remember which one it was,
I
but
don't
it
remember
that
either.
was it was such a teaser. It was such an early concept that was like, okay, I don't know. This is coming out in like 21 or later even. Um,
Mhm.
that being said, there was some cool stuff. Again, I haven't played Spider-Man, but more Spider-Man looks good. I know people love that game. I'm sure I will. The new Horizon Zero Dawn looked cool. Again,
Oh yeah.
even though I haven't played the first one, I'll agree. Deathloop looked pretty interesting. I'm not really a horror fan. They had quite a few horror games going on here, like Resident Evil. Ghostwire seems like it has a little bit of horror going on. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, I would say my sleeper hit from this thing was Kena Bridge of
Yes,
Spirits. That game looks sick. Like the art style was
that is a
awesome. They showed a little
gorgeous
bit of
game.
gameplay and combat, and that game looked pretty cool. That was actually like the thing that I liked the most in this reveal.
Uh,
But again,
uh,
my tastes are a little bit odd. I'm a very heavy RPG fan, like mostly JRPGs, and they really
Mhm.
didn't show a single JRPG in this reveal. So that's where my disappointment was coming from.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember with Kina, I don't the reason my chat was kind of like not clowning on the game because it actually does look quite good, but like we were wondering when they were going to release or if they were going to announce a Jack and Daxter game as well. And it was at this point that when this game popped up, someone just said Jacqueline and Daxter, and then my entire chat just like ran with it. So we were memeing this game a lot, so I didn't actually remember
yeah,
much of the game itself. But yeah,
fair
this
enough.
is
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
yeah.
still it does look sick. I
Yeah,
will say.
the art style looked really cool. Yeah, I don't know. That one looked cool. Solar Ash to me looked interesting. It's just like that trailer was so short. It was like it showed the art style a little bit, and then the dude or the I couldn't tell on it. Like the character that the players were controlling ran forward like 20 feet, and then the trailer ended. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is. So I
Yeah.
like the little bit of movement that they showed looked pretty cool. I was like, all right, this might be good, but I really don't know. That's kind of how I felt like a lot of these. Like some I don't know about a lot, but at least like 10 to 20% of them, it was like it was really just a teaser trailer. It was like, okay, I don't know what this is. Like
Mhm.
the especially on Goodbye Volcano High, I was just like, okay,
Oh,
what is this? Like
okay.
I just this doesn't even look like a game to me. So maybe you can like
Yeah, no, no.
elucidate me a little bit.
I don't know anything about this game, but my prediction is that this is low key gonna like Goodbye Volcano High. Like I gotta say, even I was like clowning on it a little bit because it's like so obviously pandering to like, I guess it is kind of like pandering to the furry community like a
Hmm.
lot. Like it's very coming of age story about literally very furry animals figuring out who they are in the world, and I was like, okay, this is definitely like for that kind of community. But I actually have my like soul read is that this could end up being legit the best game of the bunch. At least plot wise. I'm a very big like plot driven casual gamer. Like
Same.
yeah, I
Uh,
get like I get my thrill of high octane gameplay from speedrunning, and when I'm playing casually, I just want a cool experience.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
that's why. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no,
Finish.
no, no, that's okay. That's totally fine. So yeah, like Goodbye Volcano High, even though it seems a little weird, I still think that like, especially given if it actually is, and I hate to boil it down that much because it's not just a furry game or whatever, but like even so, that's not even an insult at that one might think because stuff that is like, and this is kind of weird, and it's hard to explain why I know this so intimately, but as a Ratchet and Clank runner, I am very tangential to the furry community. And so what I do know the furry community is that they have ridiculously high standards, and they almost always execute on on like the art that they try to create. So assuming that this is supposed to be for that demographic, I actually have really high hopes it's going to be a great game. And
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of want to get it myself just to see.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was similar to like a visual novel, something like that. Like,
Yeah.
very text, very like text and story heavy. Um, yeah. Otto?
I was kind of a sucker for the artistic ones, so Kina was the Kina game looked really interesting just because of the way it was visually. There's some other stuff like obviously I haven't played the Spider-Man, but like Spider-Man it looks good. The other one I was looking at was Gearbox Publishing had one. It was called Godfall.
Oh, Godfall, yeah.
Oh wait, let me see that one
This
again.
is it looks like it's I'm just gonna guess it's an action RPG. And
I would guess.
it
I
looks
would
like
guess
there's like
that
some
too.
you can be in a party, so it might be have some kind of like co-op elements to it. It looks really cool. It just like looks cool. I was particularly interested in this one, and yeah, I think like with Gearbox, I have some level of faith that this could be something really entertaining for especially if it is like an action RPG and you play co-op. Maybe it's like one of those like Destiny type games. I don't know. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. It looks cool, but the Kina game looked artistically gorgeous, so I couldn't stop thinking about
Yeah.
that one. And
I
then
just
like for me that one like I the other ones like with the Goodbye Volcano High. I got to be honest, like some of those games like okay, whatever. For me, I'm not necessarily huge on that because it didn't really show, particularly with those like ones that are heavily plot driven. It's hard to give a satisfactory teaser to that because it's
true.
just like the way the game is. But like so it's hard to say. Okay, well some of these games like it's really hard to say exactly. The Returnal one, the one that was like the basically like live die repeat type movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be an Aliens type game. I was more interested in it being a horror Aliens type game where the person has to go investigate and find clues, and every time you die, you have to like take a different path to find more clues. That's an interesting game if you put it in that box. If you put it in that box, I think it's intriguing because like the Alien, we don't really get like enough pseudo alien type games to be honest with you, where there's just like a really particularly spooky environment outside of like the Silent Hill series and things like that. Like Resident Evil, I think the remakes are doing a better job of it, where the environment is the horror. So
Yeah.
I would like to see more environmental horror, and this one could be that. So I was intrigued because it's like Aliens. The big thing with Aliens is like the entire environment is spooky. You're sort of like alone somewhere with the unknown ahead of you, and you have to like piece together things. That was cool too. So there are some interesting ones. Like I said, the Godfall one just looked like something that could be really fun. I have no opinions in some of the other ones. I just want to say at some point Spoon and I will be doing like a sports episode. I know we're gonna do a sports episode. Every time I see a sports game on these,
Yeah,
I can't think of sports anymore. I just think of casinos.
They should have left out. Like, I'm like, why are everyone knows NBA 2K21 is gonna exist, and everybody knows it's gonna be on all the platforms, and everybody knows it's gonna have heinous microtransactions. You don't need to put it in your reveal trailer. Like,
Yeah. Also, they just like I get what they were trying to do here because they wanted to show the most lifelike rendering of Zion Williamson in the history of gaming or whatever, but like the sweat particles do not look good.
None of those sports games ever like graphically are supposed to necessarily impress